everyone, Voodoo here, and I am here today with the last of the 3 boss videos from testing on Friday. This one went with the 7th boss. I believe it's the Nexus King. I do not remember his actual name, but it's Nexus King. So this fight seemed amazing. A little different in this one is that we're going to show my footage and then swap to a different POV from a guild that did more testing, because I do want to show you guys this whole boss fight, but due to how my guild tests, which is mostly pugging, because obviously it's like at 3 o'clock on a Friday, most people with jobs can't do that, we have to fill in. So testing isn't always as representative of what actually happens. So we're going to swap over to Reloe's stuff. I will link all his things. He does a lot of weak ores as well, so you'll notice there's stuff there to help them get through it. But super sick fight. I think Fel-Scarred or Eldritch Reaver both have play on this boss because of how much single target and how much cleave there is here. Really sick fight. Super excited to get into this one for real once servers come up in, I'm assuming, August. So by the way, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Again, we're pushing for 15,000 by the end of the year, and liking and commenting help to push the video to more people. So with that, let's go talk about talents real quick and then on to the actual fight. All right, so this is the build that I use predominantly for testing. Now I can see some changes maybe made to this build to keep it still pretty good. I did actually like Isolated Prey. So in the first and final phase of this boss fight, it's pure single target. In phase 2, it's 2 target, and then in intermission there's like some burst AoE. So there is actually some good stuff here with immolation or stuff like that. Unsure if Isolated Prey remains or if you'd like swap it to initiative or whatever. But the build felt pretty good, just for dealing damage to boss. And of course, you know, Demon Surge is good cleave, Immolation Aura is good cleave, and you have Blind Fury, which is also, you know, good cleave with I-Beam. So there is some stuff happening here that I think was pretty good, but I can also see the normal, you know, Eldritch Reaver single target, because when you go to the other platform, you'll see when we're in the footage, there is a target in the middle that you can funnel into. In the second phase, there's 2 targets, which is going to be better with the glaive stuff. So I could see places for both. Will remain to be seen based on like tuning and what people do, which one will actually play. But I think both builds are going to be very good in this fight and have different like reasons to play them, which honestly, exciting. I really like that both trees are viable for once, literally for the only time in this expansion. So with that, let's go break down the footage. All right, so this is the fight. Now, again, ignore a lot of the strats we do. I don't think they'll be very efficient. I think the better thing is just staying in the middle and just having people's slashes go out. We're like rotating around the room, which is much more complex than it needs to be. In my opinion, I think, because the slashes don't last that long. And on top of that, there is some like tank stuff with stacking, which I think we better serve by tanks moving around. But we have not that, because obviously it's PTR. So start off, boss in the middle, we rush in. Now I do have to say, I absolutely hate the tier set. So could you see the soul here at all? I ended up getting it, right? But you can't see the soul spawn. And there's a lot of cases where this soul is just not able to be found. So I wiggle a bit and try and pick it up, and I do end up getting it, which is great. But oftentimes, like for this one, I don't think I actually get it. And I'm gonna have to come back and do it. So I don't actually pick up the soul here. I don't have the buff for Essence Break. I don't even notice. But I go over and pick it up. Anyways, this is the tank combo I was talking about with 2 stacks of Conquer. It's kind of like Sakurath P1, where you have to remove all these stacks by a certain point. Not sure when that point is. And then the Split Soak does that. So he does any combination of, well, it's always 2 Vanquish and then 2 Conquer, but the order he does them in is going to be different. Oh, I guess I also never went back to pick up my soul, so fun little thing there. These are the slashes. These look sick. So they actually leave that mark on the ground. This whole fight's based around like this guy and his dragon. So they slash and they pull you in. There's my soul. It just went away. Stupid tier set. I hope they change it. But the slashes are super cool, because pretty much like, oh, there's my soul again. Didn't even get it. Cause oh, I hate this tier set. Anyways, fight's super sick. So this is basically P1. There is one more thing where he goes around with these dragon beams. So these do damage, like they do hurt you. But like they're not too hard to avoid. Realistically, like the only hard part is trying to avoid them while you're going for soaks. But again, like it's not that complex, not that hard to avoid them, and you can only live a few ticks, so they do like hurt. Like you saw there, I got kind of schmucked by them, although our eye level is low. These slashes come out, they look super sick. We were having freezing issues at this point, but pretty much those stick around for like 1 more cycle, and then once you get back to the next cycle, banishment is just people who haven't had to get out. So normally just goes on range, not a big deal. More freezing. This is his intermission or P2. Almost died to that beam. So do not be in that circle, it deals damage to you. But then he summons his dragon, and at this point you want to be on the dragon, pretty much just like fully. So Noisy, thanks for the follow, I guess. These are big circles that place portals. You want them on the edge of the room. And then he's going to just do a few mechanics here that don't matter too much. Nether Breaker is this big axe that goes around. Of course, we have the slashes and pull. Future on with like actual guildies when we know where to put this stuff. I think, do I not potion? I'm out of potion. I already used it. So frontal's going to happen, and then he's going to roll this beam at all these portals. The beam itself doesn't hurt, not that much. You can take a tick or two of the beam and have it not be a big deal. The tank frontal hurts, but as long as you only take like a little bit, like I took like 2 ticks there, you're pretty fine. It's generally like if you take more than that, you're going to die, especially if you're standing on stuff. So this is intermission here. So he goes in the middle and he turns on these 2 portals, which you have to use your Reshi wraps to get to. So of course we're like, what's happening here? And then I'm like, oh guys, we have to go to the side platforms, right? We're looking confused. And I'm like, oh, over here, Reshi wraps, and away we go. So then this is the platform, and we will show this on, oh, this isn't muted. We will show this on, Reloe's footage so you can see it better. There's a bunch of guys over here that all do different things. We'll back it up just a tad so you can see. So there's a Titan, which is the big guy. There's 4 Reapers, which I think just do like damage to you, and then Nexus Prince Kyvor, which I think does rotating beams and stuff like that. Realistically, like nothing too crazy over here, just like a pretty standard like mob platform. But you know, mortar stuff here. I ended up dying because we didn't have a tank. I think, not really sure. But there's these beams that rotate around from the Nexus Prince. I believe you want to kill the Nexus Prince to get back, but you do also, of course, have to kill everything on this platform. And at this point, we're wiping, right? So from here, I'm going to look at Reloe's stuff because he got a lot further, and I will, of course, link everything he does in the description because I'm using his content. So I'll be right back. All right, so this is Reloe's stuff. He does have weak auras because obviously Reloe is one of the people who is most, like, they make weak auras. They're awesome. I believe he, but they. And Northern Sky is a really good guild that Reloe is in. So this picks off right about where I cut off earlier, where we're going to the side platforms here. They lust, which I think is smart. And you want to absolutely just like kill this stuff, right? So 4 Reapers, 1 Titan, and Kyvor. Titan will do Dread Mortar, which is the things on the ground. Kyvor will do Nether Blast, which is a kick, which they let go off, and then he'll do Nexus Beams, which are the rotating beams here. I believe the Reapers just do single target damage to people or just melee your tank or whatever, so nothing too crazy there. Yeah, they do Reap, which just teleports around and deals damage, so nothing insane. So they're killing the mobs here, and then once these things are dead, which they die pretty evenly, they will go back to the middle, so they have to use their Reshi wraps again, go back in the middle, and then P2 kind of continues. So we have the dragon here, and you want to deal as much damage to this dragon as possible, because I don't know exactly when it phases, but on intermission 2, the boss will hop off the dragon and like suck the dragon's essence in. There'll be a damage amp on the dragon, but it will heal itself for all the damage it like sucks in from the dragon. So you want to be dealing as much damage as possible to the dragon here so that the boss does not heal. Because again, healing the boss, not very good. So prio target the dragon in this scenario and like cleave onto Salhadaar. But realistically, this is just going to be the first part I showed in my video repeated again, right? So they bring all the maces out to the side. The mace jumps around. Visuals in this fight, by the way, insane, really, really cool. And then those are going to spawn the portals. And then, of course, you see all the slashes just kind of go out. So Dimension Breath, obviously don't want to be in that. Just going to deal a bunch of damage. The beams will slowly rotate around. From what I can tell, I don't think there's any way to bait them or anything like that. They'll just kind of happen. But obviously do your best to avoid them. And then this is the intermission. So he's going to go off and Dragon will go in the middle and a damage amp is going to happen. So the king here is healing himself based off how much health the dragon has left at the end. And during this, there's pulsing damage and you have to avoid a bunch of like slash marks on the ground, which is so visually cool for me. So again, this is a single target damage burn, which I do believe that Fel-Scarred will be really good at, but I can see Eldrachi being better for the 2 target or the intermission there. So he heals up based on how much health the dragon had left. Actually, how much health did the dragon have left? So he had like 2.9 billion, 2.7 billion, 2.7. So he heals up roughly 2.7 billion to about half health. And now we are in phase 3, the final phase, where I believe the platform will slowly close in. And this is where the fight gets kind of cool. So, well, the fight's already cool. So he'll summon these like images of himself that will throw out these huge smashes, right? So they'll throw out these big marks. Everyone who has them is marked. They go to the 4 corners and they will leave these giant shadow maces behind. So they should spawn in here, Boom. Giant Shadow Maces. And these Giant Shadow Maces have basically the intermission rings from Silken Court. So you have to fight this guy, dodging all these rotating, moving rings that he just continually plays out. And he does something called Star Killer Swing. So you see these big lines. This will come from him and from images he creates. What happens there is he shoots a star through you, and the star you want to hit these giant balls with to break them. I believe if you miss, they deal damage or something like that, but you want to break the giant maces with the Star Killer Swings, which is super sick. So you get enough to break all of them each round. Obviously, I don't think they're going to here, but you know, Star Killer Swing, boom, shatters them all. And then it just kind of repeats. I'm not sure what this is. I think if you miss, maybe there's some bad stuff that happens. I'm not fully certain at this point in time, but that's the fight basically, right? And it's just going to repeat until you just have a ton of maces going around. And like, look how crazy this looks whenever there's like, they missed 2, right? So they have, I believe, 10 maces out at the moment where you should only have 8. This is insane. Like, there's no space to stand here. All those things deal a ton of damage if they hit you. You have to just dodge. And then Star Killer Swing happens. It goes off during one of these, which is kind of crazy. Obviously, you want to shatter some stuff. I'm not sure if you can shatter more than one. You cannot. And then whenever you break one, I believe you get a dot, or that's from Star Shatter Swing or something like that. So that's the fight, right? I don't know how far they go in this pull. Seems not that far. But yeah, so crazy multi-phase fight. This is so visually like crazy, like so visually cool. P3 honestly looks kind of easy, I'm not gonna lie. It's just dodging the arrows. It's not mechanically hard. Sorry, just dodging the rings. But this fight's cool. Like, this fight is like insanely well, like, visual. The mechanics are interesting. There's a lot of different phases, but they all kind of work together. There's a lot of dragon stuff happening. And just like how they relate everything together, I think is super sick. So probably leave it here. I'll link Reloe's video and I'll link my footage. My footage is up on Twitch, but I'll link Reloe's stream as well. Just super cool stuff from Blizzard here, I think. All right, so that is going to be it for me today. So this is the last of the PTR videos from over the weekend. I think Friday I'll do one on the new Havoc build, assuming it stays. Hopefully we get changes this week to anything, really. The tier set, predominantly. I hate the tier set. But yeah, I mean, super sick fight. I'm so excited for this one. They're really, I think, overdoing themselves in this raid. Like, every boss I've seen and tested so far has been visually awesome, mechanically cool, and just makes to be like, I'm super excited for this raid. Hopefully it's tuned in a way that makes it interesting and fun. But again, like, just visually this stuff is stunning, and mechanically it's very interesting and it seems fun to deal with, in my opinion. And Havoc has a lot of options, which is great for someone like me. I love to cook, I love to have different options, and seems poised decently well from what I've seen in the raid. So good tier to be a Havoc, assuming they don't change a ton of things. Yeah, so with that, make sure you like, comment, subscribe again. That helps push the videos to more people. And of course, we are going for 15,000 subscribers. And I will see you guys on Friday with the next video. So yeah, have a good week, guys. Happy Canada Day on Tuesday to all the Canadian viewers, and happy American Day, Independence Day on what, Friday, I believe, to all my American viewers. So I will see you guys later. Peace. A big thank you to everyone watching my videos, but especially to my channel members. Thank you, Alexander Trifunovic, Rukaza, Fear Redefined, Loose Change, Jorge Polanco, Matthew Barr, Zuligan, Chocobo Merc, Gabriel Correa, Matchman 133, and Falafadar and Dark Terror. Thank you so much to everybody. If you want to join and support me in making videos, consider following the link below. I will be adding more perks to this over the summer as I get more time, including log review, which isn't available right now. But again, I do appreciate everybody just supporting me and watching the videos. So I'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Peace.